The late 90s was a treasure trove of kids' cartoons, and when 1997 came knockin', it was time for Disney to throw another name into the hat of beloved shows, with Recess. Having 6 seasons spanning over 4 years and a memorable movie to boot, we're going to cover it all from start to finish. But before we jump into the deep end, there's a bit of context you'll need to know. Recess takes place in 3rd Street Elementary School and centers around 6 4th grade best friends. TJ Detweiler, a lovable rogue and leader, Vince LaSalle, an elite all-around athlete and the legs of the group, Spinelli, a rebellious tomboy with a short fuse, Gretchen Grundler, a nerdy child prodigy, Mikey Blumberg, a gentle giant with a velvety voice, and last but not least, Gus P. Griswold, 3rd Street's newest kid. These 6 get up to all sorts of shenanigans at 3rd Street, always trying to weave their way in and out of trouble. Miss Finster, a tyrannical teacher who rules the playground with an iron fist, and Principal Prickly, a mostly pathetic principal who has no real control over his school, are the main duo who try to put a stop to the gang's plans. Also, most kids on the playground are given nicknames to match their interests. And I think that's it. Those are just the basics though, as there's loads more to get through. And where better to start than episode 1? The first episode in the show's history, The Break-In, begins at lunchtime, where an awful acidic tomato surprise dish is being served to the kids. So acidic it can burn through a spoon! TJ sees this and begins to cook up something of his own, a plan to find better food. TJ rallies his friends by telling them that the cafeteria keeps their good food hidden away. But as soon as his plan is put into action, the kid's nemesis, Miss Finster, arrives to foil TJ's peckish plan thanks to an alarm system. Finster then uses TJ to make an example to the entire school, break any rules, and she takes away the only thing a kid loves: recess. The gang knows that their friend is going crazy locked up in the lunchroom, so they decide to try and recruit as many kids as possible to break TJ free.
Miss Finster, those girls over there said a bad word.
Here's your cookie.
Their efforts lead them to King Bob, the playground's self-proclaimed ruler, a 6th grader. The playground basically works as a class system. The older you are, the more power you have. Bob is one of the school's oldest kids, and as such, is the king.
It is I who must make sure us 6th graders are treated with respect.
See what I mean? Anyway, back to the episode. Spinelli gives a heartfelt, fierce speech on behalf of their friend, labeling everyone, including King Bob, as dumb kids, reminding the school that in the eyes of the teachers, everyone is some dumb kid, effectively saying it may be TJ today, but tomorrow, it could be you. King Bob decides to assist in TJ's rescue mission with the help of the entire playground. However, behind enemy lines in the school, TJ manages to escape on his own. Just as he celebrates his freedom, he discovers his friends are in the lunchroom, risking themselves for no reason. And right on cue, Finster appears once again. She tells the kids whilst they may have succeeded to get in, and technically free TJ, they wasted all their time in doing so, and recess is now over. Not for us, it isn't, Miss Finster, as we go straight on to episode 2. In the next episode, TJ and his friends come up with a plan to start recess early, successfully pulling it off under the nose of their teacher, Miss Grotke. Miss Grotke is an earth-loving 60s hippie throwback, a very warm and caring teacher who wants her students to be the best versions of themselves. Quite the contrast from Miss Finster.
What the?
TJ's plan and celebration is interrupted when a soldier drops off his son, Gustav or Gus Griswold, the newest student at 3rd Street School, a student who has been to 12 schools in the past 6 years.
Darn solar watches. I'm going to have to stop buying out of the whole planet catalog.
TJ and his friends try to help Gus fit in, but King Bob, the playground's ruler, enforces a playground code that designates the newest student as the new kid, erasing their real name. The previous new kid, Morris Hingle, had to endure this status for 3 years. Gus is now a cast-off, even by his own parents and teacher, Miss Grotke, calling him the new kid. TJ and his gang feel sorry for Gus and decide to help him regain his identity. So they come up with a plan to get Gus's name back by getting the kids of the school, and even the bus driver Bertha, to use Gus's name and throw him a surprise. But King Bob soon appears, forcing the kids to revert their surprise in fear of breaking the playground code. TJ and the gang turn a cold shoulder to Gus also, but only because they want him to stand up for himself. Gus does stand up to King Bob, telling him of his troubles as a new kid in other schools, but this time that changes. Bob eventually relents and lets Gus have his name back.
What do you want, a parade? You got your name back. Now get out of the way.
Now to the episode, The Great Jungle Gym Standoff. During a typical recess at 3rd Street School, Principal Prickly announces that Old Rusty, a beloved playground structure, will be torn down to make room for a new jungle gym.
Mr. Prickly is a great principal. Now get out of my way, you little brats.
This news upsets the students, as Old Rusty holds cherished memories for them, like when Swinger Girl laughed so hard she swallowed her tooth. The kids continue to lament about the years Old Rusty has spent on the playground, going so far back that even Mikey's great uncle had spent time with Old Rusty. After recess ends, TJ decides to stay behind and stage a protest, a sit-in on Old Rusty, and when construction workers arrive, TJ refuses to move.
Now look, kid, either you get off, or we're gonna have to knock it down with you on it.
And his determination inspires more and more kids to join him, rallying behind him. Not even Miss Finster can put a stop to the protest, as the kids stand in solidarity for Old Rusty.
We'll execute Plan P.
Until Prickly appears to tell the kids that they've left him with no other choice than to call their parents. The parents arrive and quickly see how the situation has unfolded. They recall their own fond memories of Old Rusty and join the protest,
Yeah, this is where Laura Jameson laughed so hard she swallowed her loose tooth.
including Swinger Girl's mother, the PTA president, and Superintendent Skinner's brother-in-law, forcing Prickly to give up. However, their joy is short-lived, as the old structure can't handle the weight of so many protesters and collapses. The children are distraught, but the construction workers recognize that some of Old Rusty's components can be combined with new parts to create New Rusty, preserving the beloved jungle gym for generations to come. In the episode First Name Ashley, Randall Whomps, the school's slimy snitch, tries to dig up information on his fellow students but fails, resulting in the destruction of his recording device by the Diggers, the Ashleys, and Spinelli. Randall reports to Finster, who threatens to replace him after he finds nothing worth reporting.
Maybe we should talk about your retirement.
No, not that!
But she gives him another chance, wanting some real dirt from her trusted spy. So Randall goes to the school's permanent record department and uncovers something by accident: Spinelli's real name. With this dirt too good for Finster, Randall has a plan to use it to potentially rule the playground. Randall threatens Spinelli with his new information, that if she doesn't complete his long list of demands, like doing his homework for the rest of the year, or calling him the Supreme Most Honorable Lord Randall, that he'll spill the beans, provoking Spinelli to charge at him. But before she can do anything, he shouts to the entire playground that Spinelli's real name is Ashley. Spinelli doesn't hate her first name, but rather what it means on the playground. Every Ashley has to become one of the Ashleys, a group of snobby rich girls who look down on everyone else.
This is like a major tragedy. That creature, an Ashley, how could it be?
Spinelli has tried to cover this up for years, knowing that she would have to join if anyone else knew about her real name. But the Ashleys, having heard the news, fear that Spinelli's behavior will tarnish their name. So Ashley A decides that they have to invite her into the group. Spinelli refuses, but playground rules dictate that an Ashley must accept another's invitation. She gets forcibly taken to the Ashleys' clubhouse, where they try to make her conform to their ways through makeovers and brainwashing. The gang attempts to find a way out for Spinelli, but learns that the only way to leave a clique is a unanimous vote from the other members.
I got just the thing. Library cards, social security cards, whatever you want.
So TJ devises a plan with the help of Hustler Kid to change their name and a load of other kids' names to Ashley with fake identity cards. They invade the Ashley clubhouse, invite everyone to join, and trash the place. The only way they'd leave is if Spinelli comes with them. Left with no choice, The Ashleys agree, and Spinelli is freed. She thanks her friends and immediately reverts to her true self by chasing after Randall for teasing her about wearing a dress. In the next episode, King Bob falls ill with tonsillitis and appoints Gus as the substitute king of the playground during his absence. Yup, from new kid to king in just a few episodes.
This next opening is February 10th at 12:47 p.m. You'll have 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Initially, Gus enjoys his role as king, but soon becomes increasingly forceful and tyrannical, mimicking King Bob's behavior.
The yo-yo you requested, sire.
I meant to say a glow-in-the-dark yo-yo.
He completely forgets his friends on the playground and even imposes a cookie tax, stating that every student must pay a 2-cookie tax every day. TJ and the gang visit him, and whilst they do, Gus shouts at a younger kid for not paying the cookie tax, and when TJ steps in, he sends him to playground jail.
I suggest we go see Gus again. I'm sure he'll listen to reason.
As Gus's tyranny intensifies, more students end up in his makeshift prison, leading to a realization that he is turned into a tyrant. The imprisoned students escape and decide to overthrow him. A battle rages on between the rebels and Gus's guards. The situation abruptly stops, though, when none other than King Bob returns, presumably recovered from his illness, and reclaims his rightful place as ruler of the playground. Despite Gus's actions, the gang forgive him because they realize absolute power corrupts absolutely.
King Bob wants to see you. Something about an application to be Lord Emperor of the West Playground.
In the episode Speedy We Hardly Knew Ye, the gang's class hamster named Speedy suddenly appears to be dead when the kids return to school after the weekend. They are initially told by Miss Grotke that Speedy might be hibernating or meditating, but Gretchen soon discovers that Speedy has actually passed away.
His little heart couldn't take so much seasoning.
Listen, if it makes you feel better, you all killed him, okay?
Feeling the need to give Speedy a proper farewell, the kids decide to hold a funeral for their beloved pet. They enlist the help of their fellow 4th graders and even gain the support of various school past students, including high school students, bus drivers, and even the mayor.
Back when I was a 4th grader, this little hamster was my only friend.
Whilst King Bob offers to give the eulogy. Spinelli, however, turns her nose up at the idea of a funeral for a hamster and wants nothing to do with the idea. However, during the funeral, Spinelli rushes in and confesses just how much she loved Speedy, jumping into his grave, accidentally knocking open Speedy's coffin, revealing that the hamster is not the same one they knew.
That means they're not the same hamster.
Miss Grotke confesses that there have been multiple hamsters named Speedy over the years, and each time one passed away, it was secretly replaced to spare the kids from understanding death. This revelation initially upsets the older attendees, but TJ manages to convince them that they can still honor the memories they have of Speedy, even if this exact hamster isn't the one they knew. Speedy is then buried, and we see a montage of all the Speedies throughout history, showing that a loved one is always important. The episode I Will Kick No More Forever starts during a regular game of kickball. Vince steps up to the plate to smoke the opposition as always, and of course, kicks it out of the park. But then, in the bottom of the 9th, Ashley Q comes up and smokes the ball further than anyone has ever done.
So, anyway, where was I?
She kicks it so far that, well, the ball goes to China. Seeing his kicking record beaten by someone, especially an Ashley, Vince then falls into a funk, losing his confidence and the ability to kick a ball, making himself a laughingstock.
You guys playing or what? We're playing. Great. Then I pick Ashley Q.
With his talent gone, Vince decides to quit kickball and stop coming to school altogether in favor of sitting at home, eating junk food, and watching reruns of games when he was actually good.
Hey, did you see that kick? Boy, back then I was in my prime.
Vince, that was 2 weeks ago.
Stating, I will kick no more forever. A better kickballer than a wordsmith, though. The gang decides to bring back his confidence by getting him back up to the plate.
Cool yo-yo. Don't touch that!
They go to his house to convince him to give it one more go with the plan to switch the regular kickball with Gretchen's concocted glorp ball, a super bouncy rubber-like substance. The gang manages to convince to step up when Mikey feigns an injury.
You will lose Otto magically.
with TJ telling him he may be a loser now, but one kick can change that. So Vince kicks one last time, kicking the glorp ball into the stratosphere. It turns out that Gus hadn't switched the real ball with Gretchen's glorp ball at all, and Vince had kicked a real kickball. And just like that, Vince LaSalle's super athlete is back.
I'll just put this up here where it's safe from idle hands.
The next episode starts with TJ and the gang stealing ice cream from the cafeteria freezer. But Miss Finster tracks the crime back to TJ as he left his shoes at the scene of the crime. So as his punishment, he is sent to the wall for the rest of recess. But it does not have much effect. His friends can chat to him, they can laugh and joke, and apart from staring at a wall, he's still enjoying recess. So, Miss Finster decides to invent a horrific psychological punishment, the box.
Well, I say the joke's on you because the rules of the game just changed.
A seemingly ridiculous idea, which is just 4 lines painted on the ground.
It's gonna make me more famous than Mildred Frisbone.
Mildred who?
The teacher who invented detention.
It's only when TJ is sent to the box that the power of the punishment is really felt. Miss Finster bans anyone from being near the box, and due to isolation, TJ develops a psychological fear.
We give him an extra 2 minutes.
That's inhuman. You're a genius, Miss Finster.
Beginning to hallucinate, with time and reality warping around him.
This old man, he played too.
The fear is so great that he appears broken, agreeing to do jobs for Miss Finster such as clean erasers and do other things that a good boy should do. His friends come up with a scheme to get TJ back in the box to face his fears. They plan to set him up. They spit fireballs at Finster, framing TJ, getting him a one-way ticket back to the box.
This old man, he played too.
Now back in the box, TJ's hallucinations begin again, feeling like the walls of the box are closing in on him. That is, until a kickball rolls its way into the box and a kid comes in to get it, breaking the illusion for TJ, who realizes it really is just 4 stupid lines on the ground that can't hurt him. Finster goes to check on what she thinks will still be a broken TJ, only to find him completely back to normal, with her box punishment now completely useless against the playground.
My box, my beautiful box!
In the next episode, the story starts with Spinelli greeting Gretchen with an out-of-context comment about the big day. Gus is confused and asks for an explanation. TJ, Vince, and Mikey enter the scene looking well-groomed. It turns out that today is the day when the teachers at 3rd Street School submit their annual budget requests, and one student gets the opportunity to deliver these requests to the teacher's lounge in person. Vince then recalls a time in 2nd grade when he had a chance to see inside the teacher's lounge. He is shown trying to peer into the lounge, but Mr. Yamashiro, the teacher at the time, retrieves the budget request papers through a small opening in the door, denying him a glimpse of what's behind the teacher lounge's door. In Miss Grotke's 4th grade class, the students try to flatter her in the hope of being chosen to deliver the budget requests.
No one makes 9s like you. Why, thank you, Spinelli. That's very sweet of you.
By the way, Miss Grotke,
However, Miss Lemon, the school secretary, calls in to request the budget forms personally, meaning the gang won't get to see the inside of the teacher's lounge. But they decide to take matters into their own hands and plan to break into the lounge to see what really is behind that door. But as they do, the gang dream of what the teacher's lounge is like. Gretchen thinks it could be a world-leading scientific lab, while Spinelli thinks it's a massive gymnasium so the teachers can work out.
Don't blink, tough guy. I'm taking it to the hole.
The gang get their plan in motion, enlisting the Crier Kid's services to create a diversion, offering him their entire savings of 98 cents and 2 of Mikey's Winger Dingers. Expensive for a kid. While the Crier Kid, cries, Miss Finster rushes to his aid, leaving the hallway unattended. The gang proceeds to the teacher's lounge, and Spinelli uses a hairpin to unlock the door, but unbeknownst to them, Mr. Yamashiro is in the lounge. TJ tricks him by claiming that Miss Grotke's lime green convertible is on fire in the parking lot, knowing that he actually owns the car.
Not only is she not here, but she doesn't drive a lime green convertible.
I do!
And as Yamashiro rushes out, the gang finally gains access to the teacher's lounge. But to their disappointment, the lounge is bare and underwhelming. Just as the gang exits, Mr. Yamashiro returns and curses the pranksters who tricked him about his car, before activating a hidden room in the lounge, revealing its true luxurious natures, and the presence of the teachers who are all having a blast.
Thank you, James.
In the next episode, Parents' Night is coming up at 3rd Street, and the gang, except Spinelli, is excited to bring their parents to school.
I'm gonna show my folks the dead pig in Mr. Germain's science lab. Man, that thing can really float.
She makes up loads of excuses about her parents not being able to attend, making the gang realize that Spinelli's parents have never been to a Parents' Night, ever.
Hey, did you guys hear? Spinelli's mom and dad are gonna be the first parents on the space shuttle.
With their curiosity getting the better of them, the gang decides to spy on Spinelli to try and catch a glimpse of her parents to see if they really are the super cool people she pretends they are. But it doesn't go quite to plan as Spinelli catches them red-handed in the act.
Hi, Spinelli.
What are you doing in there?
Sitting?
The gang's plans don't stop there, though, as they plan to actually infiltrate Spinelli's house, making Mikey drink a boatload of water before knocking on her door asking to use the bathroom, to which she, of course, says no.
What are the questions?
Can I go to the bathroom?
What else?
But she does finally give in and tells her friends that she will bring her parents to Parents' Night. That doesn't help poor Mikey.
Come on, Mikey. There's a gas station about 5 blocks from here. 5 blocks?
When Parents' Night comes, Spinelli's parents finally show up, impressing everyone.
Check it out, dudes.
The gang asks Spinelli why she's hidden her parents from everyone for so long because they're the coolest parents in the school. But when things were going well, her parents say they've got to go, wanting payment for their deal. And just like that, the jig is up. Spinelli comes clean to her friends that they weren't her real parents, and that her real parents just embarrass her constantly. Her friends try to reassure her that they can't be that bad, but right on cue, her real parents, Bob and Flo, appear after finding a Parents' Night note in the trash.
You must be BJ. He's the one our little honey bunny has the crush on.
They embarrass Spinelli even worse than the gang expected, making Spinelli run out of the school in shame. The Spinellis eventually reconcile and return to Parents' Night after a wholesome chat.
No matter how uncool you think we are, we're always going to love you.
And as they're about to go inside, her father is revealed to actually be a secret agent. Agent 006 to be exact, and tells his superiors that he can't attend a world-saving mission because of Parents' Night. Now that's a cool parent.
003, this is Agent 006. Received your signal. Over.
Roger, 006.
In the episode The Breakup, Mrs. Grotke assigns a class essay called My Best Friend. The students are instructed to write about their best friend and explain what makes them special to them. Each member of the gang thinks TJ is going to write about them being his best friend, so in turn begin writing an essay about him.
What's your favorite color?
Huh? What are you talking about?
I gotta pick a best friend for that stupid essay, and you're it.
Mikey and Gretchen begin to share details about their best friend TJ, but Spinelli interrupts them. This leads to a heated argument among the gang members, each claiming to be TJ's real best friend. They all try to guilt trip TJ by recounting times they've helped him, which only escalates the conflict. Eventually, the gang members turn on each other, calling names and declaring that they are no longer friends.
Oh boy, that was neat! So you ready to tell me your favorite color?
On the school bus home, TJ attempts to sit with his former friends, but each one blocks the seat next to him.
Always room for one more!
The next day, TJ goes to look for his friends, but they are nowhere to be found. Randall approaches him and reveals that his friends have all found new best friends. Vince now works for King Bob. Gretchen is best friends with Upside Down Girl. Gus works for the Diggers, Sam and Dave. Mikey is with Guru Kid, and Spinelli, or Spinuti, is the queen of the kindergartners.
They're only 5. They can't really pronounce Spinelli yet. Here's your one, Spinuti. It's Paschetti.
TJ then realizes that he needs to choose one best friend or he won't have any friends at all. So he decides to write his assignment and share his realization that he doesn't have one best friend, but 5 amazing friends, each with their own unique qualities. He describes them as the most athletic and popular kid who chooses to hang out with him, the smartest kid who uses her smarts to help him when he's down, the toughest kid who protects those who can't defend themselves, the seemingly intimidating kid with a heart of gold, a new kid who shows bravery and does what's right. I guess you can see why he's so popular.
He thinks I'm a great athlete.
His classmates applaud his heartfelt essay. The gang apologizes to each other for their earlier behavior and promises never to fight like that again.
My serve! Oh, good shot, Randall!
The next episode begins with a school assembly for the amazing Jeffrey's hypnotism show, but the students seem uninterested. Jeffrey seeks a volunteer, and when no one steps up, he selects Miss Finster as his subject.
How about a nice round of applause for a great sport?
Miss Finster, who refuses to tell anyone her age, becomes the focus of Jeffrey's trick. Jeffrey intends to hypnotize her into believing she's a 6-year-old, but it doesn't go quite to plan. Finster is left feeling nothing, but Jeffrey seems to have accidentally mesmerized Principal Prickly instead.
I'm 6, but I'll be 7 in June.
Prickly, now convinced that he's a 6-year-old boy, starts behaving like one during recess, pretending to be a speedboat?
Look at me, I'm a bat!
The gang notice that there's something not quite right with their principal, but after Gretchen deduces that Prickly has been hypnotized, they decide to use it in their favor. However, Randall overhears their plan and informs Miss Finster about the mix-up, and the teachers attempt to confront Prickly, but they struggle to regain control.
You can't make me, you can't make me!
The gang intervenes, persuading Prickly to act like a principal once again, but now as their friends.
I'm in charge now!
I don't think so.
Giving him a list of things that they want changing around the school. Miss Finster obviously sees through this act and locks Prickly in his office.
What a jerk.
But he discovers the school microphone and begins to act out, causing disruptions throughout the PA system.
1, 2, 3...
The gang eventually convinces Prickly to return to his adult self, knowing that it's wrong to keep Prickly at this state. And without him as principal, Miss Finster will be taking over the school.
I won't do it, you hear me? I want to be a kid. I want to stay a kid, you hear me?
Gretchen uses a pencil to de-hypnotize Prickly, restoring him back to the principal we all know and kinda love. Miss Finster confronts the gang about their actions, wanting to punish them to the fullest extent. But Prickly decides to let them off with a warning, remarking that kids will be kids. As Finster leaves with the gang, TJ expresses his gratitude to Prickly. In the episode The Lost Ball, Miss Grotke receives a long-delayed package containing various mundane items from Hank, the school janitor, including a bicentennial play ball from the 70s. She decides to give the ball to her students, who fight over who gets to kick it first. To decide, they use the red dot method.
Ready, set, open.
And Gus draws the red dot and earns the first kick. Gus isn't exactly known for his kickball skills, but he stands up at the kickball plate and launches the kick of his life, kicking the special ball over the school fence into someone's yard. But this isn't any old yard, as Butch, the school's conspiracy theorist and bearer of bad news, appears to tell Gus the story of little Jimmy Kratner, who, just like Gus, kicked the ball into that same yard, the yard of no return. When Jimmy climbed the fence to get the ball back, they never saw him again. No one knows what's in that yard. Aliens, a different dimension, but once you go, there's no coming back.
Although we're at a loss as to why. Another famous ocean legend is the story of a...
Gus digs up the courage and decides to go over the fence to get the ball, but wears safety equipment and carries a rope for backup.
Anything you want to say before you go?
Just one thing. Don't let me do it! I'm too young to die!
He encounters strange statues and eventually finds the ball he lost, but something sneaks up on him, something that looks eerily like a monster. Gus screams for help over his walkie-talkie, but his transmission is cut off. The other kids try to rescue Gus using the rope, but discover it has been cut, leading them to believe that Gus has been abducted by whatever terrible thing lives in the yard. TJ decides to go in after Gus, as does the rest of 4th grade, but Gretchen tells them it would probably be easier if they just knocked on the front door of the house. So they march over there. To their surprise, they're met with a monster removing its helmet, only to find that it's an old woman named Dottie in her beekeeping uniform. Gus is found safe, enjoying cookies and holding the lost ball.
Yeah, we thought you were a flesh-eating alien. No offense.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Dottie offers cookies to the rest of the children and takes them to her shed, where she reveals a collection of balls that had been kicked over her fence over the years. It turns out that the balls were never lost after all. No one had ever asked for them back before.
Well, yes, he does remind me of that nice Jimmy Kratner.
Gretchen and the Secret of Yo is one of the show's real feel-good and most memorable episodes. It starts on the playground with Gretchen playing games like any normal kid, but doing badly in them.
Next.
So she tries to find a sport that would fit her. She even tries jump rope with the Ashleys, but they just mock her lack of coordination and things seem hopeless for Gretchen.
That shouldn't be too hard. Amateurs.
That is, until she notices someone playing with a yo-yo. It would seem Gretchen is a natural at yo-yoing and can perform super hard tricks straight away. All but one, the Invisible Man, the hardest and rarest yo-yo trick, only ever performed by yo-yo legend Tommy the Tinkler Tate. TJ hears this and recalls that someone of that name lives opposite 3rd Street, sparking Gretchen's curiosity to see if she can get some tips from the man that lived and breathed yo-yo. She rings Mr. Tate's doorbell, but is met by the voice of an angry old man who tells her it takes extreme mental and physical discipline, and that he's past his best and can't help her. Gretchen is obviously upset that she can't conquer the one sport she's ever been good at, and tells Tate that yo-yo isn't some hobby to her, it's all she can think about. All she wants is to complete the Invisible Man, and then she can feel validated as a true yo-yoer. This clearly strikes a chord with Tate, who opens his door and tells Gretchen he'll help, but it'll be a long road to the top, and to get ready for some serious training, starting tomorrow.
No, I am.
You don't shake with that. It's your instrument.
Training begins with Tate, and he shows her his trophy collections. Old footage of him performing at professional yo-yo tournaments and giving her butternut squash because it keeps the fingers nimble.
No, you knocked all wrong. It's this. See this? It's this. Just like this.
Tate puts her through the ringer and tells Gretchen she's the best he's seen in a long time. So good, in fact, he's entered her in the Yo-Yo Pro Expo, the biggest professional yo-yo tournament around.
This is the 6th one this week. You're the last person I'd expect this from.
Gretchen starts to argue with her friends because she's focusing on yo-yoing rather than being present at school. She tells Tate about the fallout, to which he says there comes a time in a yo-yoer's life where they have to choose between having a life and being a pro yo-yoer. He then gives her the exact yo-yo he used in his last ever winning tournament. The gang realize how important this is to her, so turn up at the expo to cheer their friend on. Gretchen is second favorite behind the world's best and undefeated yo-yoer, Alex Laral. The tournament comes down to the final round where Gretchen is only a point behind, but Laral pulls out all the stops and is basically a certainty to win. Until Gretchen pulls out, you guessed it, the Invisible Man.
Ladies and gentlemen, it can't be. It's an Invisible Man.
Winning the expo with the move the Tinkler was known for. She then retires from professional yo-yoing, dedicating it to Tate and stating that she's got friendships and schoolwork to catch up on. And for the first time in her life, Gretchen is officially good at a sport. The episode, The Story of Whomps, starts with the gang going to play a 4th versus 5th grader game of baseball. But before they play, TJ says that Lawson, their playground rival, Whomps, prompting him to almost attack him. Whomps, as you're about to find out, is TJ's way of swearing in school without swearing, and it was first made when he and Vince got caught cussing and vowed never ever to make that mistake again.
Man, this making up stuff whomps.
Whomps, that's it.
But by the time the story of Whomps is over, so is recess. And Miss Finster hears TJ once again saying Whomps. So she sends him straight to Principal Prickly's office, where he makes it very clear that Whomps is a bad word.
But to give you detention level 5.
Level 5? Man, this whomps.
Make that level 6.
And that he is going to notify the faculty to put a school-wide ban on TJ's word. Now that whomps. TJ, obviously angered by this, puts a plan into action to get the rest of the playground to say the word and hopes that their protest would see Prickly change his mind about the word, as TJ believes that his word isn't bad as it doesn't mean anything. The kids continue to be sent as if it was daily routine to the principal's office.
Who the heck is Whompy Whomperson?
Causing Prickly to call the Board of Education, who send over Mr. White. A man who is strict and adheres to the rules almost to the point of insanity, a specialist educational officer.
This isn't tea time, it's an emergency. It's time for action.
First tea, then action.
He tricks TJ into giving a speech where he says the word whomps again.
TJ Detweiler, freeze. You others, step away from the kid.
And TJ is arrested and taken to court? When Superintendent Skinner hears the word whomps, he finds it completely harmless, and that the fact that it was made up by a kid to replace bad words does not mean it's bad. TJ is found not guilty. In the next episode, Spinelli and her parents unexpectedly run into Miss Finster at the supermarket. Miss Finster, having known Spinelli's grandmother Aggie, is a family friend and hears about Aggie's upcoming party. But her parents tell Finster that they can't go because they can't find a babysitter for Spinelli. That is, until Finster volunteers to look after her.
Finster babysitting you?
After school, Miss Finster takes Spinelli to her apartment and learns that they are having an unconventional dinner of horse liver with Brussels sprouts and lima beans, much to her disgust. 99.9% of humans wouldn't eat that. They skip dessert and watch a show called McManus the Vet Detective, the most boring show on TV.
Do me a favor, will ya?
What's that?
Put my teeth back in the jar.
The following morning, Miss Finster wakes up at the crack of dawn to exercise, and they run errands together, including a visit to the podiatrist's office where Spinelli meets Miss Finster's old friends.
Oh, it's murder being on my feet all day.
They also buy groceries, and Spinelli realizes that Miss Finster is quite different from her usual self during the school week. Miss Finster offers Spinelli another horse liver dinner, but gives her some space when Spinelli asks to use the bathroom. While in the bathroom, Spinelli calls TJ on the phone and inadvertently hurts Miss Finster's feelings by saying she didn't realize how boring she was. Not knowing Finster was listening in, she calls TJ to rescue her any way they can.
I wonder which she'd like better, creamed asparagus or creamed beets. Hey, Spinelli!
Miss Finster takes the criticism on board and flips, throwing a luau, reminiscing about the hula dances she used to do with Spinelli's grandmother in Guam. Spinelli joins in, and they both dance the hula, both unaware that TJ and the gang are watching. But they agree to never speak of what they just saw again.
I'm a hula hula baby in a hula nation.
On Monday, as Miss Finster drives Spinelli back to school, she reminds her that she'll be a student again, and Finster will be the teacher. All's well that ends well.
And you, no walking on the grass. Keep it moving, Missy.
In the episode, The Economics of Recess, TJ returns to school after being sick for a week. However, he's surprised to find out that the school now operates on a new currency called Mon Stickers. To enter the school and participate in activities, students need these Mon Stickers. Vince pays for TJ's entrance fee, and the gang explains the new system to him. TJ learns that Menlo, Miss Lemon's aide, has become incredibly popular and wealthy due to having family stickers that his uncle gave him.
Now this I can afford.
Desperate for Mon Stickers, TJ makes a deal with Menlo, trading his cap for 5 Mon Stickers.
Kind of whomps, doesn't it, Detweiler?
He vows to turn those 5 stickers into a fortune to eventually buy his famous red hat back. He works for King Bob, the Diggers, and eventually the whole playground, earning himself enough stickers to pay other kids to work for him.
Going twice? 300 stickers for all the balls!
TJ then decides to enter the free market, working against different factions and cutting deals. He becomes the school's dominant supplier, even outsourcing some jobs. TJ eventually targets Randall's ball collection and outbids everyone, gaining control of the single market of balls with a bid of 300 stickers. He recruits the gang and implements ruthless tactics to increase his wealth.
I was wondering if you might be interested in buying your old hat back.
Well, well, how the mighty have fallen.
Owning 80% of Mon Stickers in circulation. However, TJ gets greedier, raising prices and causing kids to stop playing, as there's not enough stickers around for people to pay to play.
I'm glad you came aboard, Randall. My organization needs go-getters like you. Now go get me some candy.
TJ comes to school the next day only to find out that the Mon Sticker craze and subsequently his business has died, being replaced with lick and stick alien stamps.
Looks like you could use a lift, man.
I don't deserve a lift. Not after how I acted.
The gang then makes him sign a contract to not control more than 10% of the total number of lick and stick alien stamps so that TJ will never be corrupted by wealth and power again.
Now let's go play! But I don't have a lick and sticker to my name. I gotta get to work.
In this episode titled Principal for a Day, the story begins during recess at 3rd Street School, where Menlo is collecting entries for the Principal for a Day contest, and Randall hands him a box full of entries. Meanwhile, the 4th grade graders are playing kickball against the 5th graders, and TJ uses Gretchen's experimental giant metal shoe to hit a home run, but also resulting in the breaking of Principal Prickly's office window. As a consequence, TJ is caught by Miss Finster and sent to Principal Prickly's office, where he is made to fill out an incident report for the Prickly Files.
This is the boy who would break the window of a principal. Tell me, son, do you see me breaking windows where you work?
Miss Finster then suggests that TJ would make a good candidate for principal for a day, as she believes it could positively influence him, just as it did for Menlo.
Your mint, sir?
Yes, thank you, boy.
Always at your service.
Initially skeptical, Principal Prickly eventually envisions how a day with TJ might impact him, too. TJ is then announced as the winner of the Principal for a Day contest, much to the disappointment of Randall.
And the winner is...
Thank you, excuse me, pardon me, out of my way or you get detention.
The next day, TJ arrives at school with a crowd of students eagerly awaiting him. He enters Principal Prickly's office and makes morning announcements,
And for dessert, all you can eat chocolate chip cookies. Some are just born to lead.
including granting all-day recess, stating he is a principal from the kids, by the kids, and for the kids. But things start to change as TJ demonstrates his leadership skills by handling rule violations, even giving detention to a fellow student, Lawson, who broke one of TJ's rules about gum sharing. This surprises Principal Prickly, who recalls his own experiences with giving detentions, which is quickly interrupted when TJ tells Prickly that he liked giving Lawson detention. It seems the power is going to TJ's head again.
Recess, everyone's favorite time of the day, is hereby over. I want everyone back in their class.
As TJ continues to assert his authority and grow in Prickly's image, he becomes increasingly strict with his rules, leading to disciplinary actions against students. He even starts to dress like Prickly, playing golf in his office just like him too.
More than this? Behold, Prickly's House of Style.
It's not until TJ has to put a student in the Prickly Files that he begins to realize what he's become. He realizes he needs to do something, so organizes a surprise assembly, which turns out to be a party on the playground. They were so close to making him something he's not, but TJ turns it around and shows the school, and Prickly, what he's all about. The episode One State Clean is an episode that perfectly captures what Recess is all about. It's picture day at 3rd Street School. TJ and the rest of the Recess gang are initially upset about the big day, considering it annoying. But Gus explains that he's never had the opportunity to take a class picture due to him moving from school to school, and he's excited to finally make his parents proud.
Last? But that means we have to stay clean for the whole day.
That's impossible!
So the gang decides to help Gus stay clean throughout the day to get him a nice school picture. TJ and the gang work together to keep Gus clean, but they face numerous challenges.
Good enough.
Pizza finish! We free!
Including kindergartners and other students who attempt to tackle them.
Like, I'm hit! We need help! Dry cleaner! Dry cleaner!
They hide in various places and avoid getting dirty, but one by one, members of the gang fall and get dirty and have to fight for themselves.
Where are the kindergartners?
Until eventually, Gus and TJ are the only ones left. They make their way to the photographer without a speck of dirt on them, weaving their way through kindergartners and flying dirt clods. Lawson, a 5th grader, tries to stall TJ to make him dirty, but TJ urges Gus to go on ahead. Gus goes on, but is torn between the picture he wants versus leaving a friend who risked everything for him behind. Only in his father's office do we see that Gus saved TJ from Lawson's attack. TJ wrote a letter to Gus's father to express his pride in Gus for standing up for his friend and defending him, even if it meant being a cheesy mess for his class photo. In the episode Dodgeball City, the gang have just lost a dodgeball game against Lawson and some other 5th graders.
Fire!
Their games are a weekly tradition, and if TJ and the gang lose one more time, they'll tie the school record for most consecutive losses in a school year. They go to Kelso's Corner Store, their favorite after-school hangout, to talk about how much of a failure they've become when it comes to dodgeball. Gus arrives late to the store carrying a guitar that his mom is forcing him to learn. The gang then realize that in all the games they've played, Gus hasn't taken part in any of them. And right on cue, another kid walks in and spots Gus. He points at him and labels him as El Diablo before falling over in sheer fright.
It's El Diablo!
The kid explains that Gus used to go to his school, Jesse James Elementary, and threw the fastest dodgeball in the West, remaining undefeated throughout his entire time there. El Diablo, which is Spanish for the devil, terrorized the entire school. TJ and Vince are skeptical of the story, but witness Gus's incredible dodgeball reflexes firsthand when they try to convince him to play, hoping he could be their secret weapon in a mega dodgeball war versus the entirety of the 5th grade, for all the marbles, the most expensive items on the playground.
Detweiler, you got yourself a death duel. Dodgeball, tomorrow, reset!
However, Gus refuses to play in any dodgeball games due to a traumatic incident where he accidentally injured a younger child in his dodgeball playing past. Despite their initial efforts to persuade Gus, the gang respects his decision not to play dodgeball and drop the idea, hoping Lawson and the rest of 5th grade will cancel the big match. But of course they don't. And the 4th graders begin to take a beating in the dodgeball war. That is, until Lawson purposely fires a dodgeball at Hector, Gus's kindergarten friend, forcing El Diablo to come out of retirement in an act of revenge. El Diablo's legendary dodgeball skills shine as he single-handedly defeats the entire 5th grade team, saving his most powerful throw for Lawson, cementing his legend as the greatest dodgeball player in playground history. But he decides to retire from the game, for good, after avenging not only Hector, but the kid he hurt at Jesse James Elementary.
Safety man! Come back, safety man! School isn't over yet!
In the episode The Lord of the Nerds, TJ suffers an injury during a kickball game, resulting in a broken collarbone, and with a cast on his arm, TJ isn't allowed to join his friends on the playground due to a school policy that restricts students with significant injuries.
Oh man, I can hardly look! He caught the stupid ball!
According to school legend, a student named Tiny Sedgwick disappeared after spending recess in room 51 with the Pale Kids due to an injury. Lawson tells TJ that they got Tiny Sedgwick, and the Pale Kids will get him too. TJ dives in at the deep end and goes to room 51, meeting the Pale Kids, Frank, Rodney, Steve, and Carl. TJ isn't in the mood for friendship, however, when he lets them know he'll use his karate skills for self-defense.
Hang tough, Tej. Us is us, and them is them. And you were meant to be one of us.
But things quickly change when TJ notices that the Pale Kids have a huge collection of Senior Fusion comics, his favorite comic book superhero, making TJ think he may have got the Pale Kids all wrong. He starts to bond with them, playing with their crystal toys and sharing his comic collection. TJ even joins them in playing Daggers and Dragons, a role-playing game, and develops a character named JT, just like Frank's character, Knarf. Yeah, they just spelled their names backwards. Time flies when you're having fun, and just like that, TJ's collarbone is as good as new. As a final outing as friends before TJ returns back to the playground, the Pale Kids invite him to Comicopolis to get him a leaving present.
It's okay, he's with me.
Knarf! Oh, forgive me. I didn't mean to cross a level 42 Swordmaster.
TJ's first day back outside is a surprising one as he invites the Pale Kids to join them in a kickball game against Lawson and the 5th graders.
Gretchen Grundler, doughy queen of beauty.
She rocks my planet.
Oh my.
Introducing them to the gang. It goes about how you'd imagine. The Pale Kids bite off more than they can chew, failing miserably at kickball, but Frank doesn't take kindly to Lawson's constant insults towards his friends and confronts him, calling him, wait for it, a geek. This angers Lawson, and he tells Frank he's going to do to him what he did to Tiny Sedgwick. The Pale Kids laugh as Frank reveals he is Tiny Sedgwick and has thrived in room 51.
Tiny would rather hang out with those guys than us? I need to lie down.
And prefers to be there. So, he and his friends go back into the bowels of the school building, never to step foot on the playground again.
There's just one thing I don't understand. How do you do that thing with your fingers?
In the episode The First Picture Show, a blockbuster Senior Fusion movie is coming to town, and TJ and the gang are beyond excited to see their favorite superhero on the big screen. TJ wants to be the first in line to see the Senior Fusion movie as he believes he's the superhero's biggest fan. But Lawson has a thing to say about that as he tells TJ that he will be the first in line. Gretchen then interrupts the two and tells them that neither of them can be first in line as the premiere of the movie is during school hours. But Lawson came prepared. In his pocket is a permission slip from his mom granting him a day off on the day the movie premieres. TJ can't believe his arch rival will be seeing the movie before him, putting him in a sad slump for the rest of the day. TJ takes out his anger on a fusion cardboard cutout before realizing it holds all the answers he needs. The cutout sparks an idea. If he can't leave school to go to the premiere, why not bring the school with him? Turning a fun comic book superhero film into an educational field trip for all his fellow students. TJ hatches a plan with the gang to slightly bend the truth of what fusion stands for in order to make the field trip worthwhile for the school. Gretchen tells Miss Grotke that he's anti-nuclear. Vince tells Coach Klug that fusion is the peak of athleticism, and Gus makes a sculpture of the movie dome to persuade his art teacher to add his name to the faculty field trip proposal.
What in the world is going on out here?
Principal Prickly quickly shoots down the idea and clashes with TJ, who taunts him about wanting to be there himself, as TJ knows Prickly is also a Fusion fan because he found stacks of hidden Fusion comics under his desk. And of course, Prickly Fusion fan club card. TJ then admits defeat, but not before telling Prickly that he's a fair weather fan and doesn't know half of what TJ knows about his favorite superhero. TJ is that confident that he wagers a bet. If he answers 10 Fusion questions of Prickly's choosing, he'll let the entire school go to the premiere. But if TJ loses, he becomes Prickly's filing assistant for the rest of the year and can only ever refer to him as Principal Fusion.
I wish I could hear what they're saying in there.
Let's start off with something.
TJ agrees, and the questions begin. TJ surprises Prickly and answers everything correctly.
Senior Fusion crossed over into the super team during its Millennium Predicament story arc. True or false?
False!
And it all comes down to the last question. What was the name of Senior Fusion's one and only sidekick? A question from the golden age of Fusion. TJ seems to have the answer with Femme Fatale, but Prickly declares himself the winner because of a technicality of how it's pronounced. TJ said Femme Fatale, whereas it's meant to be Femme Fatale. Shocked that even Prickly would stoop that low, TJ reminds his principal of what Fusion stands for, that he stands for honesty and fair play. His words change Prickly's mind, and he declares TJ the winner, sending the school to watch Senior Fusion.
What's going on here?
So, thought you ditched school, eh, Lawson? March, mister. You're pulling detention for the remainder of the year.
But...
In the episode The Rules, during a kickball game, Vince kicks the ball into a dumpster, causing him and Lawson to have a dispute over whether it is a home run or a strikeout.
Is it a homer or an out? I must admit, Gus, I really don't know.
I'm so confused!
After discussing this with King Bob orders Jordan and Jerome, his royal advisors, to seek out the rule books in the library. While in the library, Jordan and Jerome find old King Morty's rule book from 1935. King Bob is so impressed, he reinstates the laws of King Morty, making Jordan and Jerome his royal law enforcers. At first, they seem fun, as one of the first games played by the Code of King Morty involves Vince and Lawson tossing around an old apple core at each other to decide if the original kickball was in or out.
The person who kicked the ball, hereafter referred to as the kicker, shall then jump into the dumpster himself.
The apple splashes on Lawson's shirt, leading to Vince's victory. But soon the kids have to play basketball involving rags and buckets of water, foursquare involving a large tree stump, and even tetherball involving a log.
My turn.
In time, Gretchen concludes that King Morty, reigning in 1935 to 1936, that is during the Great Depression, instituted these laws so poor kids could have fun without having to waste precious balls. TJ also concludes that King Morty's rules, while relevant in the 1930s, make no sense more than 6 decades later, when there are plenty of balls to go around.
Take this boy to the cabbage field. Cabbage field? Hey! No!
The playground becomes a bore fest, but no one can play anything fun because of the literal fun police.
I won! My pile's bigger than your pile, so I win!
Hey, Morgan, you're playing with crabgrass.
But of course, TJ has a plan. To sneak off behind the kickball field to have some real fun, but are quickly followed by the fun police. But before anything can really happen, King Bob appears. He listens to what's been happening on the playground, and as quick as they were made law, King Morty's rules are put back on the shelf.
You had them playing with stumps? Well, you see, sir, basically, yes.
King Bob then institutes a new law as far as kicking a ball in the dumpster is concerned. Flip a coin. The episode The AV Kid starts with Miss Grotke telling the class they'll be watching TV in school, which means only one thing: a visit from the AV Kid.
Did you see his keys? There must have been a gazillion of them.
Brock, the AV Kid, accidentally gives Miss Grotke the wrong cable, so TJ and Vince are tasked with going to get the right cable. But they leave so excited that they forget their hall passes and are quickly pounced on by none other than Miss Finster. Luckily, Brock is nearby and vouches for the pair, waving his all-access hall pass, one of many perks of being the AV kid.
Huh? Whoa, half a door!
That is so cool!
Menlo overhears the gang talking about the AV kid and confirms that he's leaving as his family are moving to Portugal. He then tells the gang that if anyone is interested in replacing the AV kid, then they can freely apply. And of course, TJ and Vince speed off.
May the best kid win.
Thank you. I appreciate your support.
There are tons of candidates for the job, and Brock himself is in charge of choosing who should replace him as the AV kid. He puts the candidates through various tests, like unfurling an extension cord with no knots, operating overhead projectors, and a hallway slalom.
Pay attention to Detweiler. You might just learn something.
With each passing round, candidates are reduced until it's only TJ, Vince, and Lance. Lance the Pants. It all boils down to one last test.
Well, lucky for you, runner-up boy, I'm done eating.
Whoa, done eating so fast? Guess you smoked me again?
How to unjam a film projector before the film runs out. TJ and Vince both half complete the test but are stuck, so they put aside their rivalry to help one another and both unjam their projectors at the same time, whilst Lance gets jammed himself.
Gentlemen, inside this box I hold the keys.
With it looking like it's either Vince or TJ about to become the next AV kid, Brock announces that the winner is Lance? He explains that TJ and Vance are true friends, and a real AV kid needs to be a lone wolf. And although both would probably be better suited for the job, Lance is more suited to the AV lifestyle. From Lance the Pants to AV Kid, the Pants.
You can call me AV Kid the Pants. Kickin' nickname.
The episode Lost Leader starts in the middle of one of TJ's classic plans, retrieving the gang's lucky bat from the Ashley's clubhouse by using a fake skunk and sending Gus in. Mission Impossible style. But before it can be completed, Finster appears and foils the plan.
Infestation my foot. Forget your skunk. I smell a rat.
Stranding Gus in the Ashley's clubhouse. A panicked Gus accidentally grabs the tires of the clubhouse, trying to escape, but instead destroys it from the inside out.
Those are the finest steel-belted radials Daddy's money can buy.
TJ tells the gang after the dust settles that he's hanging his backwards cap up and his planning days are over. He endangered his friends and he thinks he might have lost his TJ touch. Lawson appears to taunt the gang about their missing bat, sparking the six to want to put a plan in action to get it back. But TJ stands by his word. His planning days are over. His friends try to conjure an idea without him, but each plan is more complex and unrealistic than the last.
We've all decided to come up with plans of our own.
That was 5 minutes ago, Vince. I think we all remember.
Like Gretchen using android robots.
Scandalous! Scandalous!
Or Gus using the military to break into the Ashley's clubhouse.
Attention, Ashleys!
They realize there's only one person who can help them. A real leader who can devise a plan. They need TJ.
How about you, Spinelli?
I like my idea. I'm just not sure it's legal.
Their plan quickly changes from getting their lucky bat back to getting him back, by telling him they don't need him. TJ is angry at his friends and marches towards Gretchen, demanding to know why they spoke to him like that. He quickly loses track of why he was there when he sees just how awful the gang's plan is. He snatches Gretchen's headset and begins to coordinate his friends, pulling them together to finally get their lucky bat back.
Well, I'll be hornswoggled.
And it works! Not only do they get the bat back, but the gang get their leader back. And just like that, after 6 seasons, the final school bell rang for recess. Well, for 6 years anyway, as in 2007, Disney released a feature-length film about our favorite 6 fourth graders titled Recess. School's out. And of course, we're going to cover it. Final recess of the school year at 3rd Street School, with the gang trying to pull off one last prank. They catapult the school's ice cream supply from the roof, causing chaos as the ice cream rains down.
In my last official act before entering middle school, hereby anoint this boy here, King Freddy II.
TJ impersonates Principal Prickly's voice to create a diversion, but the real Principal Prickly catches him and takes him to his office. But there's little time left before the final bell rings for the summer vacation, so TJ escapes any real punishment.
Oh, really? How about the time you convinced the FBI I was a Chinese agent and got me arrested?
As summer vacation begins, TJ is excited to spend it with his friends, but he learns that all of his best friends, and later most of their schoolmates, are going to different camps for the whole summer.
Hey, Captain Brad.
I don't like you, Griswold. I am not your friend.
TJ spends his summer days alone until he stumbles upon strange activities at the school whilst riding past on his bike. He witnesses a secret group of scientists using a laser to levitate a safe, but no one believes him when he tries to report it.
Look, Artie, somebody's levitating my donut with a laser beam!
Even Principal Prickly is dematerialized in front of him when he attempts to enter the school, or so we think. Using a diary belonging to his big sister Becky, TJ records the time and attempts to get his friends back from their camps.
20 miles away. I'm not taking you all the way up there.
Dear diary, I dreamed Jimmy again.
Together, they investigate the school and uncover a plot involving the school scientist and a mysterious man named Dr. Philium Benedict. They discover that Prickly is actually being held hostage, so TJ and his friends stake out at the school every night from his treehouse, trying to gather evidence.
Oh boy, Miss Finster's gonna love this.
They realize that something sinister is happening and become determined to rescue Prickly. They infiltrate the school, but things don't go as planned.
Get off our planet, alien scum!
And they end up captured by Benedict's henchmen. While in captivity, TJ learns from Principal Prickly that Benedict used to be his best friend in 1968. However, their friendship soured when Benedict became principal and wanted to abolish recess to improve test scores. Benedict's career ambitions drove a wedge between them, leading to a personal vendetta against recess.
No, Phil, it's over. I could never be with a man who doesn't love recess.
TJ and Prickly manage to escape their captors, but they're recaptured by Benedict's bodyguard, so TJ contacts his friends, who then finally rescue them. They learn that Benedict's ultimate plan is to move the moon's orbit using a tractor beam and turn summer into winter, forcing kids to stay indoors and study. With the help of their friends and even TJ's sister, they launch an assault on the school. A battle ensues between the kids and Benedict's henchmen. With even the school's teachers joining in to stop Benedict's evil plan. In the end, TJ manages to destroy the machine powering the tractor beam, saving summer vacation. The police arrive to arrest Benedict and his associates for their crimes, whilst the kids are celebrated as heroes.
I heard about how you saved my life and everything, and, well, here, I think this is yours.
The gang decide to spend the remainder of their summer vacation at home with TJ, realizing they have limited time to be kids. They thank TJ, and he rushes to thank Principal Prickly for his help. Prickly expresses gratitude to TJ for reminding him of why he became an educator, and TJ rejoins his friends to finally enjoy their summer together.
Teach.
You got it, Pete.
And with that, it's time to say farewell to our 3rd Street friends. I hope you've all enjoyed running through recess as much as I have, and of course, thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and let us know down below what show you'd like to see next. See you all next time!